Your eye.
My eye, my right eye. I'm losing sight of my right eye.
Right, okay.
And just constant itching in my arms.
Oh, right, okay.
Which is,
And you don't know what that is?
well, it's been diagnosed as brachidorial pruritis,
Right.
which is just itching skin.
That's a big title, isn't it? Hey, did you feel really proud of yourself? That you
Yeah, I
got that
remembered
one?
it.
Yeah, well done, yeah. It's impressive. Brachidorial
Pruritis.
pruritis. I don't remember that one. Brachidorial pruritis. Isn't it great? You go to the doctors because you've got brachidorial pruritis. Great. Can't help you with it, but you've got a name now. So we'll see if we can take that away. Eh?
Okay, yes,
Yeah.
please. Yeah.
All right. And problem in the right eye.
In the right eye.
Cool. All right. Yes. Brachidorial pruritis. I think that's brilliant, isn't it? Hey? Brachidorial pruritis. I remember that. Now, what you can do, if you watch me really, really carefully, you will see as the beings come in how I sort of light up. And inside my little head, there's this little thing, well, brachidorial pruritis, why do we do that? And it's like, well, the doctors have to do something. They've got to be seen to be doing something, so they'll give you a name. And then they'll give you a drug with an even longer name. And you will be amazed at how many of those drugs that get prescribed by the pharmaceutical companies contain fluoride. You look for the word fluoro in the proper name for it, you'll find it's in there a hell of a lot. They're putting fluoride. And then turns now, why would they do that? What is fluoride? Right, remember chemistry? Remember chemistry, and you had your charts. Iron was Fe and lead was Pb, and nitrogen was N and hydrogen was H and oxygen was O, and they all had numbers, didn't they? Yeah? Where's fluoride? There's fluorine, there's not fluoride. So fluorine is an element, fluoride is a compound. Now, fluorine has to combine with a very heavy metal, something like sodium or potassium or aluminium, yeah, to form a compound. So you never just get fluorine. Fluorine's a toxic green gas. Fluoride is a compound, and it's not a clean compound. You can have traces of arsenic and lead in there. Now, what happened back in the 1960s, memory serves me right, this is from a book called Fit for Life by Harvey and Marilyn Diamond, and in their book they give the source of this company. There was an American aluminium manufacturing company. They manufacture aluminium, and one of the nasty waste products is aluminium fluoride, and they weren't allowed to dump it in the rivers. So they played this marketing guru back then $1 million to come up with a way of getting rid of this stuff. And he decided to sell it to the municipal council as a health product to put in the drinking water. It is true. That's the historical fact. That's how you came to have it in your drinking water. Now, nowadays, it's not the waste product from the manufacture of aluminium, it's the waste product from the manufacture of fertiliser. They don't want it in the fertiliser. And the council pays to have it put in your drinking water on the pretext that it fixes your teeth, protects your teeth from cavities. It calcifies the pineal gland. There's another agenda. It's calcifying the pineal gland. When we look back historically, when fluoride was put in the drinking water before that time, we have to go back to Nazi Germany. Hitler put it in the drinking water of the inmates of the concentration camps. He wasn't bothered about their teeth, now was he? No. That's where chemotherapy is also originated from. Yeah? Now, I'm just curious, how's your eye feeling?
Same, actually.
Same.
Yeah.
So, does it, and so I've got two things. I've got how it is looking out of it in terms of your vision, but how it actually feels.
It feels fine.
Yeah.
Vision is better.
Cool.
Yeah.
I've got 2 surgeons that work through me and work on eyes, but mostly they'll refer you to the pinhole glasses because for most conditions that's all we need. Oh, but we've got a scalpel out now. So in Brazil, where these beings work through John of God, they will literally use what looks like a fruit knife and scrape the surface of the eyeball. They're not allowed to do that with me because I go to jail if that happens, so I told them no, and I'm far too squeamish. Alright, but what's happening now, the surgeon, who's bigger than me by about probably 4 inches, can you feel a funny feeling? What's it feel like for you? A bit like
It feels
anaesthetised?
Yeah,
Yeah.
it does.
It's great, isn't it? And there'll be people watching this clip of film in the weeks and months ahead that say, what a load of rubbish. Hey, my goodness me, you've all been hypnotised. So please, if you can, just go on Facebook and say, no, I was there and this really did happen. And this is like scraping now the front of, whoa. Can you feel like something's just being teased out the front?
Yeah.
Yay. How cool is this, eh? God bless. Go on, what's happening?
It just feels just like it's more just being pulled out.
Just being pulled out, just being pulled out. So everything you see me do, you can do. You can do. You've just forgotten. You've just forgotten. You've forgotten that when your body aches, all you're supposed to do is take your awareness to that part of the body and ask it, okay, what's wrong? And the body will respond. It'll let you know. It'll give you a feeling. It's not going to talk back and say, you know, you fed me the wrong food. You're not going to hit, but you'll feel a feeling and you'll feel, oh, somebody pops into your head. Let me show you what I mean. Close your eyes and I want you to think about your mother-in-law if you've got one. Alright, if you haven't got a mother-in-law, think about the worst teacher at school and just notice where in your body you hold an energetic response. Now I do want to say at this stage is that your energetic response to your mother-in-law may be a good energetic response. I love my mother-in-law, she's an amazing human being. But what happens is we hold an energetic response in our bodies to different people. Think about somebody you really, really love or a pet. And notice where you hold that energy for them. God bless. Alright, then I've got the words no consideration, so that don't be insulted by that. He's not saying that about you. So it's part of the teaching. I'm just going to wait for the rest of it. I'm expressing it so I don't lose the rest of it. Okay, so there is no consideration within the existing scientific community for words. I'll put it into words ever so fast. For like a feasibility study of whether healing actually works. The scientific community don't want to know. They just want to give you more drugs. And those drugs will have side effects which will require you to need more drugs, which will have more side effects, which we will need more drugs for. It's a great business. They're not in the business of making you well, they're in the business of keeping you sick. And hence why we have these vaccines injected into healthy babies. My inquiry about vaccines started very, very simply. I was a new mum in the UK and I had a baby that was 31 weeks. You're supposed to go 40 weeks, have I got that right? So 9 weeks prem. She weighed 3 pounds, 11 and a half ounces, little dog. So you could put her head here and her feet that touch the inside. She had to have baby clothes, even though the triple O's were too big for her. And we got discharged for hospital when she got to be 5 pounds. The day she got to 5 pounds, I got discharged. And we've been through special care, she'd been in incubators, you know, she'd been fed with a line, a tube, and we got this little bundle of joy home. And the doctor came to visit me in my home. Now, my doctor in the UK, I hadn't had a visitor, a doctor visit me in my home since I was a kid. When I was a kid, Dr. Bino, Dr. Dyson, they knew the whole family, and they'd come and if you were sick, they'd visit you. Wasn't that smart? Because if you've got some unspeakable disease, they didn't want you in the waiting room. Yeah? And they knew the family history, so they knew, oh, well, your grandma had that, so that's likely. Then they knew all the family history. And so I was 35, my daughter had just been born, 5 pounds in weight, we'd just come out of the special baby unit in Nottinghamshire, and this doctor came to my home to give my daughter her vaccines. And I didn't know how many vaccines, and I was told there were 6 vaccines. And we just had this life or death situation, it's like 6 vaccines, and I just said very innocently, will you be giving her half doses? Because normally babies are about 8-9 pounds, and she was, would you give her a half dose? She said, no, I'm going to give her 6 full doses of vaccines. And I looked at this little baby and I thought, no, that's not right. I mean, I'm not a scientist, I'm just a mother, but something inside of me said, that's just not right. And I said, I'm going to need to think about that. The doctor went mental with me, absolutely bloody mental with me, you know. I've never seen a doctor ever behave so unprofessionally. Well, that really made me then suspicious. I didn't kowtow to her bullying. I stood my ground and said, no, my daughter's here with me. There's just me and her in this house. Nobody's bringing bugs into the house. Can't we wait until she's bigger? Can't we wait until she's 8 or 9 pounds? No, they had to be given today. 6 of them, full doses. And I said, no. And I'm really glad I did. Then I started doing my own research. And back then we didn't have the internet, so I had to look for other things. And the more I read, the more worried I got. Yeah? And I'm not anti-vaccines, but I'm pro-good science. And what's happening for you now? That must be really amazing. Can you feel that energy?
Yeah.
Yeah, awesome. So she's cooking with gas, I'm talking with you, but this amazing healing is happening here. So let me just explain my understanding. This is my understanding, all right? And I'm not a doctor, I'm not a scientist, I'm also not a vaccine manufacturer that stands to make a lot of money out of these things. But when I was growing up, I studied biology to O-level. Yeah, and I got an A in O-level biology. I also got an A in O-level chemistry, and I think I got a B in physics, and I got an A in maths, and I got an A in English, and an A in English lit. So I'm above average intelligence, yeah? And so I've done O-level biology, and I've got an A in it. Now what I was taught when I went to school was that in English history, there was an outbreak of smallpox that killed lots of people, an epidemic, yeah? And what they found was certain people didn't succumb to the disease, and they were the milkmaids. And they reckon that the milkmaids had got a lesser disease called cowpox. So the theory, the scientific theory was, if you get cowpox, which is a lesser disease, your body will develop antibodies and make you resistant then to the smallpox. Yeah, that was the thinking, yeah? And so, in America and England, everybody believed this, and I believe at that point, everybody truly did believe it. Now, what happened in 1946 was there was a massive outbreak of measles. Now, by that time, we got a measles vaccine in the UK. There was a massive outbreak of measles, and when they looked at the data, they found that it wasn't whether you had the vaccine or not that determined whether you got the measles. It wasn't the presence of antibodies or not that determined whether you got the measles. There were 2 things that determined whether or not you got the measles. Number 1 was exposure to the disease. If you didn't get exposed to it, guess what? You didn't catch it. Yeah? And number 2 was your overall general level of sanitation, hygiene, food quality, immune system well-being. They were the 2 things. And it threw the scientific community into, oh wow, we've got it wrong. It doesn't necessarily mean antibodies will protect you from a disease. They're just one factor, there's other things. Yeah? Now at that point, we probably should have looked at what was really happening, but we didn't. Pharmaceutical drugs, vaccines were big money, and so they just ploughed on down that path. Now what's happening for you?
The eye is much clearer,
Yeah.
but I'm also feeling like tightness here. It's like something's unravelling something.
Yeah. Cool. Right, that's coming off now. Right, onto this bit. Now tomorrow night, I'm in a rework. So I'm just going to say, if you've not had a healing tonight and you want to make the journey over to a rework, I've only got 5 people coming. So your chances of receiving a healing are really high. Yeah? We could have more turn up on the door, of course, but I've only sold 5 tickets so far. Right, let's see how we're doing. How's that feeling?
It's good.
Feels good.
Yeah.
How's your
Yes.
shoulders feel?
Loose, better.
Now, I can't remember now what the itchiness is called. It's called
Brachidorial pruritis.
brachidorial pruritis.
Like that.
It's like Expelliarmus, isn't it? It's like Harry Potter. How's it feeling? Is it itching or?
No, and it doesn't feel hot and tight in there, which is what it usually did.
All right, awesome. Brilliant. Cool.
Okay.
Give her a round of applause.